Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. San Juan County Commissioners okay the first step to a possible temporary storage site for the high-level radioactive waste. We'll have that story when Channel 6 News continues.
For the unusual gift, try Sherry's Country Store Gifts. Sherry grew up around country stores and knows there has to be something for all the five senses. Something to see, smell, taste, touch and hear, and give the sense you're a welcome customer. The walls are filled with unique goods from different corners of the world. So for the memorable gift of quality, come to Sherry's Country Store Gifts in the Western Plaza.
How do you have an instant party? Just buy a sack of subs at Subway. Take them home and serve them family style. It's more fun because everyone gets a taste of everything and no one has to cook. So if unexpected guests drop by unexpectedly or you don't feel like cooking dinner, pick up a sack of subs at Subway. We specialize in solving emergencies with food.
For more information on these and other fine sandwiches, visit the Subway near you.
San Juan County Commissioners have voted to go ahead with plans to study the feasibility of a monitored retrieval site or temporary storage facility for high-level nuclear waste. The Commission voted 2-1 to accept a $100,000 federal grant to look at the plan to keep the spent fuel rods from nuclear power plants until the federal government can come up with a permanent facility. According to the Commission, it's a case of economic development.
The thing is for us to present those studies and see if the people themselves in the county are willing to say, yes, whatever risk that is, I accept many risks every day greater than that. Am I willing to accept that additional risk for the employment and economic benefit of the county when the county sits as the highest welfare rate, sits as the highest infant mortality rate, sits as probably the highest unemployment rate, and tourism really isn't a 4-month hit of that really isn't going to cure those things. This facility won't cure all those things, but it will make a significantly bigger financial impact on the county for health care, for roads, for education, for employment, for the well-being of the county than anything else that is on the scene that we can see that would be a source of employment and economic base.
I don't want to dump in our place. I don't want to be the national dump.
So you won't accept it at any level?
I will not on MRS, no.
Well, then I say that we'll have to disagree with you then, because
well,
we're going to at least study to see if it has possibilities or feasibility.
But the Commission was not unanimous in their support, with Mark Maryboy opposing the plan.
I don't support the concept, mainly because of the studies and the information that I see. I guess the bottom line is there's no guarantee.
According to the Commission, information on the proposed MRS was sketchy.
Well, how many jobs would this create?
Well, it's projected 500 to build a facility, 200 which takes 2 years. This is just projection. We want to know what the numbers actually are. 250 to 350 jobs permanently. Well, for the life of the facility, which is projected 40 years with an annual payroll of $12 to $15 million. So if you even took 300 jobs and $15 million, that's $50,000 average a job.
How would the material be transported?
By train and truck, I believe, mostly by truck. Now, I wish you was here last week because we had those folks here, and in that process, we want to know that too, and how safe that is.
But you know how many trucks?
I haven't.
No,
we don't know any of that stuff.
We are in the process of being educated ourselves.
Right. Okay, one last question. What's your response to, Governor Bangerter said he would stop this?
Well, his letter indicates that at any point in time, if it was his desire, he would. And that's a decision he would have to make. I guess we'll just proceed with what the grant is See how far we get, I get it.
And of note for Grand County residents, the commissioners do say they believe the high-level radioactive material will be moved through southeast Utah by truck and rail. Right now, the closest truck route from the interstate system and the closest railroad line both favor a route directly through the city of Moab. The latest figures from the State Department of Employment Security shows that the beginning of the tourist season in March led to a drop in Moab's unemployment rate. But the new numbers show the percentage of jobless in Grand County remains above the state average and is higher than it was last year. According to the Utah Labor Market Report, the unemployment rate here stood at 6.6% in March of this year. That was 0.9 of a point lower than in February and 2 percentage points lower than in January. But it remains much higher than the statewide average 4.5% rate. And even with the increase, the jobless rate is 0.9 of a point higher than in March of last year. All in all, the picture in Grand County is better than the rest of southeast Utah, which averages 8.9% out of work. And the counties of Carbon and Emery, heavily reliant on mining, have the highest unemployment rates of 9.7% each. The economically hardest hit area of Utah is over in Garfield County, where unemployment climbed to just under 20% with the reductions of jobs at the Escalante timber mill. A northern Grand County youngster died over the weekend following a drowning accident at his home. According to the Grand County Sheriff's Department, 5-year-old Justin Cassidy was playing with his younger brother late Friday afternoon at an irrigation pond on the Broken Bold Ranch near Hay Canyon in the Book Cliffs area. Apparently, the youngster fell into the water. He was found by his father, who pulled him out and applied cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The youngster was rushed to St. Mary's Hospital in Grand Junction, where he was kept on life support systems until he died Saturday evening. Grand County Democrats chose Peter Haney as their candidate for the county commission. We'll have that story when Channel 6 News continues. Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Get in on the fun with this 91 Ford Explorer at Certified Ford. This V6 automatic XLT comes complete with power windows and locks, air conditioning and cruise control for your ease and comfort, and pinstripes running boards and an AM/FM cassette for the sport in you. Low mileage, too. See it today at Certified Ford.
This moment of silence for your reading pleasure is brought to you by B. Osborne Books and Magazines.
Grand County Democrats have chosen Peter Haney to be their candidate to run for the county commission next fall. The decision was made Saturday as about 100 delegates, candidates, and political activists gathered at the Civic Center for the party's county convention. On hand were a number of Democrats who are seeking statewide office, including the contested races for governor and senator. The 51 local delegates elected 13 delegates to the state convention next month, and their votes will decide whether or not there will be a Democratic primary in September. The two leading Democrats in the fight for the governor's mansion, Pat Shea and Stuart Hansen, both spoke to the gathering.
As I think all too often in this state, we have people in Salt Lake City who do not travel, who do not understand the different needs and demands of the region. And a good example is after the dinner says, you know, you've been talking about tourism, but let me give you an idea. And the idea is, don't talk about it as if it were low grade or mining. Talk about it as high grade. And I took that idea to Uinta Basin and up to Cache Valley, and it was something that people really caught on to.
As you know, in November, I announced that I was running for governor. We've attempted to do two things with this campaign. First of all, talk about issues that we believe in listening to people are important to the people of the state of Utah. And the second thing that we've attempted to do as part of this campaign is to listen to people. It's a model that I intend, if elected, to carry into the State House.
Shea came out of the gathering with a few more votes than Hansen, with third candidate Byron Marchant not getting any delegate support. Also on hand was Congressman Bill Orton, who is bidding for re-election, the unopposed candidate for County Attorney Bill Benge, and two candidates for Attorney General, former District Judge Scott Danielson and current Assistant Attorney General Jan Graham. In the race to win the nomination to run for County Commission, Joe Kingsley and Haney squared off. Kingsley of Arches Realty stressed the need for a business approach to government.
And I plan to put all my energies forth to make sure that everybody has a voice, and I will listen to everybody, unlike our current king, David. And I feel that my worthy opponent, I've said this out on the floor, it's a shame that we're not the county commission, because Peter and I think, could really do a lot better job than the other two that are in there. And we have a lot of problems in Grand County, and they're serious. We're at a pivotal point. I feel that Grand County is a big business. It is a multi-million-dollar business. You need a businessman, someone who can treat it as such to get the best for our residents.
Haney, who currently works for Four Corners Mental Health, gave his views of the major issues in the county.
Over the past 5 years, many talented people, of which I consider myself one, have worked hard to bring economic development to Grand County. Phase 1 of the economic recovery has been successful. Where do we turn for Phase 2? The idea of economic stability through diversity and moderation. I feel we need to start with an open, responsive, impartial county government that will allow more than 2 or 3 people to say in what direction the county is going to go. Some of the major issues facing the county today are the landfill, the lack of housing, particularly low-income housing, too many low-paying jobs, a lack of vocational educational opportunities, unplanned growth, city-county relations, county-state relations, county-federal relations, crime, health care, and a struggling school district, along with the Keystone Pits. During this past week, I've heard a lot of frustration and disenchantment with how things are done now. I hope I can give you hope that we can make our county government open, responsive, and fair so that everyone who wants to work towards making this community a better place to live will be able to and be encouraged to participate.
In the end, Haney won about 85% of the votes, which makes him the party's choice. The county convention was just one step in the election campaign. Republicans will be meeting May 28th in their county gathering, where there will be contested races for commission and for state representative. The Moab City Council will begin its sometimes long and difficult budget deliberations Tuesday evening at a special council workshop meeting. The city operates on a fiscal year that begins in July, planning for future infrastructure, including water and sewer systems, parking, and a city hall that will meet legal requirements for handicapped access, will be a major part of the new budget. The first workshop begins at 6:30 Tuesday evening in the first floor meeting room at City Hall. Meanwhile, the city's planning committee will be meeting Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. to go over ideas for how to finance a municipal parking lot in Moab. That meeting begins at 8 a.m. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
For the best RV camp park in Moab, it's Holiday Haven, with oversized spaces to accommodate the largest RV and cool, comfortable tent sites under mature shade trees, all with a convenient central location. Holiday Haven is also Moab's finest mobile home park that offers country living in the city. An established park with pool, playground, laundry facilities, and a retired section. For comfortable RV or mobile home living, it's Holiday Haven, 400 North, 5th West.
Bright sunshine and blue skies stayed in the valley on Monday with temperatures in the mid-80s, and expect the nice weather for at least another day or two. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for sunshine through Tuesday, with summer-like temperatures close to and maybe above the 90-degree mark. Look for overnight lows near 60. By Wednesday, it should stay warm, but clouds are expected to move in by afternoon. And then on Thursday and Friday, the clouds will be heavier with a chance of some scattered rain showers and thermometer readings in the mid-80s. And that's news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. Have a good day.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting. Members of the Citizens for Better Government say there is strong support for a change in the form of county government. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Make Nelson's Heating and Refrigeration your first step to cool this summer with one of their new swamp coolers. Nelson's also offers parts, service, and installation. And if it's appliances you're after, Nelson's proudly presents Whirlpool and Maytag brands for low energy use, fewer repairs, and great warranties. Nelson's Heating and Refrigeration, serving Moab for 30 years, 1070 Bowling Alley Lane. Support for a change in the form of Grand County government is overwhelming, say members of the Committee for Better Government. That word comes from Norm Shrewsbury, the head of the Citizens Group, based on surveys done over the past few weeks. The group set up tables around town and asked residents to fill out survey forms on whether or not they felt the current 3-member commission set up was representing them. And in an effort to get a more objective sampling, the group also conducted a phone poll, asking 115 randomly selected residents. The results, says Shrewsbury, are solidly in favor of a change.
All right, we had an idea that there was interest in change in county government, and we wanted to talk to the people and get some ideas in terms of what they might prefer. So we crafted a poll. We also got to meet the people and get some, some feedback as well.
How many people did you end up talking to?
The total number that signed our walk-up survey was 436. And we had a second survey trying to be more statistical because we were trying to accomplish more than one goal. We wanted information. We also wanted to meet people and talk with them. And we wanted to have some statistics that we could get a percentage that would be reasonably accurate. I mean, we're not Gallup, but we thought asking someone was better than not asking anyone. Of the 115 we spoke to on the telephone poll, 26% rated the job performance of the commissioners acceptable, and 69 unacceptable, with the balance being undecided. And some of this was a little difficult in terms of those that were undecided or maybe had mixed feelings on it, but I thought that gave us some indication at least as how to proceed.
The results of the forms filled out of the tables was even stronger in favor of doing something different.
Basically, it was 22% versus 75%. 22% feeling the commissioners did an acceptable job, and 74% saying there was something they didn't, just wasn't acceptable to them. Let me give you some other maybe helpful numbers here. 82% favored changing the number of commissioners to either 5 or 7. That was definitely the majority.
One question that has been raised is the possibility of consolidating city and county governments. According to Shrewsbury, there is some but less than majority support for that idea.
In terms of the consolidation issue, that's still very evenly divided. It was basically 30% wanted consolidation, 30% just wanted them to work together, 30% said don't change a thing. But the combination seemed to be that roughly 60%, if we combine groups, wanted a change and wanted the change to be made in terms of more commissioners with the hope that we could look on consolidation in the future. It seems generally, and with past knowledge, that a consolidation plan was brought forth in a prior year and it did not pass, that the tone of the community, no matter how much it's changed, still isn't ready and doesn't favor consolidation. Basically, it was 30% to 60%.
In general, says Shrewsbury, the citizens' preference is for more commissioners and to have future commissioners responsible to certain districts in the county.
The majority of the poll said they favored 7 commissioners. They wanted it by district, in terms of the commissioners being elected by district. We're still looking at the best way for district. One of the thoughts is to use the school board system, which has 5. And so 1 from those 5 districts and then 2 at large. The majority also favored a nonpartisan election.
The survey was just step 1 in what could be a long process.
There seems to be enough interest, and certainly it's not borderline, not just 50%, but enough interest that people would like a change. What we're trying to do is take the information from our survey and formulate a plan. And that plan is in the writing stage right now. We'll be working on it for the next couple of weeks and try and incorporate this information. Plus, you answer 1 question and 2 more come up. But we want to get this on the ballot for November, and because of the time ranges of so many days that the commissioners review it, so many days the Attorney General reviews it, so many days it has to be finalized before it can be on the ballot, and the fact that percentage of the population has to sign it as a petition, we've got just a few weeks to do a lot of work.
Even with the difficulties, the committee hopes to see the question on this November's ballot. The group arose out of county commission controversies over the past year. Most of the group's members say they believe the current commission does not represent the majority of the people in the county. Commissioners dispute that and say many of their problems come from being overworked. The Chamber of Commerce and the Travel Council reach an agreement to end an ongoing dispute over office space. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
Value Foods. Stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
If it's housewares, fabrics, or school supplies you need, think Sprouse. If it's bed and bath items or health and beauty aids you're looking for, think Sprouse. For greeting cards, footwear, or toys, think Sprouse. For more values more often, think Sprouse. Now for extra savings, look for these special tags, Manager's Special Purchases, Jackpot Buys, and Discount Food and Snacks. Sprouse. It looks like the Moab Chamber of Commerce and the Grand County Travel Council have come to a compromise on a dispute that has gone on for months over who should get office space at the Visitor Center building on North Main Street. The building was originally set aside for a visitor center and the Chamber of Commerce, but when the county took over running the Visitor Center from the Chamber, the Travel Council moved in. Now the Chamber has plans to expand their activities and need more office space. Earlier this spring, the Moab City Council, which formally owns the building, decided that the Chamber should be given office space, but the Travel Council has been balking at that, saying it doesn't leave their administrative staff enough room. They began looking for a new location, including moving mobile and modular housing into the Lions Park at the Colorado River. But members of both groups got together Monday and apparently have come to a tentative agreement. The Chamber will set up a temporary office in the UTEX building on Center Street, leaving the entire Visitor Center building to the Travel Council. And the Travel Council will help the Chamber pay for that office. Leaders of the Chamber of Commerce are not pleased with the compromise. They say their plans to expand their activities would be better in a permanent home, but they accepted the deal because it seemed the only feasible solution. Meanwhile, plans for the new Visitor Center at the corner of Main and Center Streets are still waiting until the final design plans are approved by the building participants. The center is scheduled to house the visitor services of the Park Service, Forest Service, and BLM, as well as the county and the Canyonlands Natural History Association. The building is supposed to be ready to go by spring of next year. If you plan to run for high office, you better be ready to spend your own money. That's the conclusion of the most recent disclosures of the campaign contributions. Candidates for Utah's 3 congressional seats and 1 Senate seat have amassed almost $5 million in campaign contributions, and most of that, almost 80%, is personal donations or loans from themselves. The 2 top are Republican candidate for Senate Joe Cannon, who has come up with $2.03 million, and of that, he has put in $1.87 million, or 92%. The second biggest spender is Democrat Doug Anderson. Anderson is considered an underdog in the race, but you couldn't tell that by looking at his $1.41 million campaign war chest, and of that, $1.38 million, or 98%, comes from himself. Both Cannon and Anderson are not in office. Wayne Owens is, and that makes a big difference. The congressman who is running for Senate has come up with more than $500,000 in campaign funds. But being in office, he has access to more outside contributions, and so far hasn't spent any of his own money. Following him is Republican Bob Bennett, another millionaire who has personally provided 87% of his campaign fund of more than $380,000. It was mountain bikers on display at the Moab Film Commission this week, or if not mountain bikers, at least people who look like mountain bikers. The commission opened its office for auditions for extras who will be part of an upcoming commercial shot here in southeast Utah. Film Commission member Larry Campbell explained to Channel 6 what was going on.
It's a Coors Light commercial. Folks are going to be in here filming between the 15th and the 18th. They're looking for extras that are capable of riding mountain bicycles, over 25 years old.
When will the choices be made?
I'm sure that they'll be made later in the week, probably by Wednesday or Thursday. The director's going to be in on Tuesday, so sure.
Where are they going to be shooting, do you know?
They haven't picked their locations. That's something else that he'll be doing when he comes into town.
Local extras are often used in both commercials and major film projects here, but more and more local residents are turning to other aspects of the industry to provide incomes, including scouting, construction, and production jobs. The Film Commission provides production companies with lists of local residents who are available for work, and if you would like to get on those lists, you should contact the Moab Film Commission in the Western Plaza Shopping Center. Local football players have an opportunity to sharpen their skills next month when the 1992 Four Corners Football Camp gets underway in Monticello. The week-long camp, sponsored by Reebok and Weber State University, takes place June 8th through the 12th. On hand will be the Weber State football coaching staff, as well as a number of former professional and college football stars. They will be available to help local players in the 4th through the 11th grade in honing their skills. And if you'd like further information on the Four Corners Football Camp, you can call Bo Bohannon at 259-6644 or 259-6883. The local chapter of the American Association of Retired Persons will be holding their monthly luncheon meeting this Thursday. The featured speaker will be Gwyneth Perriott. The luncheon takes place Thursday at 12:30 p.m. at the Cattleman's Restaurant south on Highway 191. And for further information, you can call 259-5394 or 259-6241. The Grand County Republican Party has announced they have changed the date of their county convention. It will now take place on Monday, June 1st. And local residents interested in forming a local chapter of the National Organization for Women are invited to a special organizational meeting this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. in the Commission Chambers of the Grand County Courthouse. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
You don't have to travel farther than On the Edge Activewear at 415 North Main for great-looking clothes for the whole family. Keep it cool this summer with Ocean Pacific Swimwear featuring Keep It Blue, 1- and 2-piece suits with coordinating hats and bags. On the Edge also has swimwear and sunwear for men and children. Great tanks, tees, and even Wrangler Western wear, rugged denim, and dandy dress Western snap and button front shirts. Many styles of clothes for all styles of active people who live life on the edge. 415 North Main.
Spring is busting out all over at Spanish Valley Nursery. Quality new stock is arriving almost daily at the best prices around. Select from an abundance of evergreen and flowering shrubbery and container-grown roses. Decorative grasses, ground covers, and ivies line the path to the greenhouse where it's full steam ahead for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. And it doesn't stop there. The backup stock is growing in the wings. Come enjoy the bounty of spring at Spanish Valley Nursery, where it's always first quality. Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company. After ominous clouds Monday evening, Tuesday was sunny and bright in the valley, and look for more nice weather over the next few days. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for mostly sunny skies through Wednesday, as a front expected to hit the state veered to the east. Look for afternoon high temperatures climbing above the 90-degree mark and overnight lows down around 60. The sun should stick around through Thursday and Friday with more warm days, and the nice weather should continue into Saturday, when some partly cloudy skies and possible showers are predicted. And that's the news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. Local eagle watchers are concerned that a BLM recreation project could permanently damage Utah's fragile bald eagle population. We'll have that story when Channel 6 News continues.
Spring is here, and if images of shovels, rakes, sprinklers, hoses, fertilizer, and peat moss are running through your head, run on down to Moab Hardware and Furniture. This year, save backstring with this handy thatching blade that fits right on your mower. Save money with Ace brand fertilizer, 20-pound bag, just $3.99. And we'll loan you the spreader at no charge. Moab Hardware and Furniture, the garden spot for all your gardening needs.
Alpine Air has just gotten bigger with their faster, smoother Cheyenne 3. Expanded their schedule for timely connections and broadened their horizons to include Grand Junction, Colorado. Moab is now more accessible through Salt Lake to the west and Grand Junction to the rest of the world. Alpine Air, your Moab connection.
For all your insurance needs in Moab, it's Central Utah Insurance. Home, auto, business, and life. You can depend on the fast, friendly service at Central Utah Insurance, 471 South Main.
Rafting on the Colorado River has been an integral part of the growing tourist industry in Moab. The town is the gathering point for two world-class whitewater rafting areas, Cataract Canyon to the south and Westwater to the northeast. In season, Westwater can have more than 100 rafters a day taking out of the Cisco Ramp area, and the Bureau of Land Management has been working for the past year on a plan to construct a newer, safer ramp. But local bird experts fear the BLM plan could have a devastating effect on the fragile bald eagle population in Utah. Right now, hundreds of bald eagles from the north will winter in the southeast part of the state. But as far as a permanent population, there are just two nesting pairs of the birds in the entire state. One pair is in the Westwater Canyon itself, and the other is near the Cisco takeout. The new proposed takeout ramp would be closer to that nest, in fact, within a half-mile of it. And that worries John Bicking, local eagle handler and trustee of the Canyonlands Raptor Center.
The environmental assessment addresses a plan to upgrade the Cisco boat takeout, and in doing so, they want to move the ramp from 3/4 of a mile away from the bald eagle nest to within a half a mile of the bald eagle nest. They want to abandon the existing ramp because they say it would have to be blasted and put in a new ramp location.
A half-mile away still seems like quite a distance. Is that a problem?
Well, yeah, it is a problem, all right. Number one, it's a problem in a sense of law because that is the established minimum distance in the Northern States Bald Eagle Recovery Plan, which governs bald eagles in the state of Utah. Two, that minimum distance got into that plan largely through the influence of people in, say, Wisconsin and Minnesota, where a half a mile of forest is not only a great visual barrier, but also a sound barrier. What we're dealing with here at Cisco is that there is direct line-of-sight contact with the eagle nest, and sound is also totally unobscured and undiminished. So it is conceded by the experts that anything less than half a mile is unquestionably likely to cause a disturbance to the breeding of the birds.
What are you afraid would happen with an increase of people within the sight and hearing of the nest?
I think the first thing that would happen is that we would see the eagles become non-productive. And interestingly, they become non-productive. They stop producing young before they abandon a nest. They will often just retain the nest but not produce young. And there's data that shows a decline in their productivity over the past several years. The second thing is that if the disturbance gets too great, then they actually abandon the nest. And that would be a disaster because this nest site, this cottonwood grove at Cisco, is almost unquestionably the best eagle habitat we have on the Colorado River within the state of Utah.
According to Bicking, the BLM has been given expert advice telling them the plan is a bad idea, but Bicking worries the agency will not listen.
The other experts we've talked to, well, I'll put them into two categories, all right? The first are nationally known experts, and you've got my document that lists who these people are, so I won't enumerate them. But these people are people that are spending full time on bald eagles, all right? And they truly are experts with national reputations, and they all say, no, don't go closer, take the ramp further upstream. They're not even happy with the 3/4 of a mile that exists now. Second group of experts are people with the State of Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, and they have expressed themselves quite clearly that they think it's a disaster to move it closer, that we will almost certainly see the elimination of this pair if the site is any closer than the existing one. Karen Steenhoff is in the BLM's Raptor Research and Technical Assistance Center in Boise, Idaho, and is a nationally known bald eagle expert. Her take was, and she said this to the local people in the BLM, that we shouldn't just look to see what we can get away with minimum distances and that sort of thing, but rather we should look to see what we can do to make the situation better. And her take was that we've got to look at other alternatives than the ones that already exist in this plan.
Bicking says he will keep up his efforts to protect the eagle pairs, and he's looking for help from others.
What I would like to see people here do is respond to the environmental assessment, and that response must be in BLM's hands by 4:30 on Friday afternoon, all right? And we have been giving out flyers all week telling them this, and if anybody would like to get a copy of our document and a copy of the environmental assessment so they can respond, we'd be delighted to hear from them. My name is in the phone book, all right? Beyond that, no, I think our hope is we are going to keep pressure on BLM to to find an alternative for the boat ramp that is not at the expense of threatening the existence of these birds. And I think we're going to carry on this effort even beyond the end of the response period on Friday. But I think it's important that we get a response from as many people as we can by Friday.
The Division of Wildlife Resources has also come out against the proposed plan. DWR Regional Director Miles Moretti told Channel 6 that his agency is not opposed to a new ramp, but is opposed to the location. For the BLM's part, the officials most directly involved in the project have been out of town this week, but agency landscape architect Mike O'Donnell told Channel 6 that the BLM will take those expert opinions into account. And he added, under no circumstance do we intend to build the ramp if it jeopardizes the eagles. The final decision on whether or not the BLM plan goes through will be made by Grand Resource Area Director Brad Palmer. Moab City officials wonder how to pay for a municipal parking lot. And Red Rock Elementary School is looking for parents to volunteer to help out in the classroom. We'll have those stories when Channel 6 News continues.
For the best RV camp park in Moab, it's Holiday Haven, with oversized spaces to accommodate the largest RV and cool, comfortable tent sites under mature shade trees, all with a convenient central location. Holiday Haven is also Moab's finest mobile home park that offers country living in the city, an established park with pool, playground, laundry facilities, and a retired section. For comfortable RV or mobile home living, it's Holiday Haven, 400 North, 5th West.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Music of Moab, music for everyone. Jazz, country, rock, classical, blues, and top 40. Everything for your listening pleasure is now available at Music of Moab. Conveniently located in the Western Plaza, Music of Moab carries your favorite music, CDs, cassettes, and a wide selection of music accessories. Music of Moab, your music headquarters for southeastern Utah. Music of Moab, music for everyone.
The current Grand County School Superintendent, Glenn Taylor, may have given up his job here, but he's not getting out of education. Taylor, who resigned this spring, said he has accepted a job in Richfield, Utah. He will be working out of an educational service center, which will serve 7 schools with help in budget, planning, special education, supplies and equipment, and administrative assistance. Taylor added that he sees the job as beginning a new chapter in his career, but he added that sometime in the future he may still return to the classroom as a teacher. Taylor's contract here in Grand County ends in June. He will be replaced by Richard Averett, who will be in Moab this week to help in the interview process for a new high school principal. City officials will soon have to make a decision on whether and how to pay for municipal parking in Moab. That was one of the conclusions of the Planning Commission Special Committee on Parking that met Wednesday morning. Committee members John Fogg, Craig Tuttle, and Tom Schellenberger discussed ways the city might pay for any parking needs with Planning Department Head David Olson and Police Chief Alan West. Right now, downtown merchants are growing concerned that available parking on Main Street is becoming inadequate as more and more tourists come for visits. One plan is to establish a municipal parking lot. The best locations, say committee members, are behind the stores along Main Street between First North and Center Street, and the vacant lot just west of the gas company building on Center Street. Other locations they have been looking at include land behind First Security Bank, behind the stores on the east side of Center Street, and another possibility is the area between Main Street and First West behind Subway. But the biggest problem is how to pay for it. One plan is a payment in lieu of parking fee. If a downtown business expands or changes its use, it's responsible for paying the city a fee to provide municipal parking. If, for example, the Poplar Place adds one more space for additional tables, or if the Emporium constructs a restaurant inside, it would be charged. But that would only generate a small amount of money, not enough for an ongoing parking project. Other ideas include using the city's redevelopment agency to generate money for a parking lot, applying for various federal and state grants, and approaching the Community Impact Board. But the most feasible way to pay for it is through increasing taxes, either through a general city bond or through a special improvement district downtown. Both proposals, though, are sure to elicit opposition from residents. Another possibility is parking meters, but that too will generate objections. So right now, the Parking Committee will turn it over to the City Council, who will have to decide whether to pursue a project or call it off. This Thursday evening, the Red Rock Elementary staff will sponsor a special meeting for parents who would like to get involved in the parent-assisted classrooms. PACs have been operating in the first grade with teacher Mary Mullen and in the second with Mrs. Warner. The aim of the program is to provide help to the teachers and to give more individual attention to the students to help them reach their full potential. One volunteer is Susie Stengel. She recently told Channel 6 that the goal is to improve the education for the children.
Yes, what we're trying to do with the parent-assisted classrooms is just enable the teachers to do their best in whatever projects they have in mind. So we help out in the classroom with reading and writing and science projects, art projects, anything that the teacher has in mind. So what we're trying to do is just to enable the teachers to be the best. Parents who have been involved in the program are universally impressed with the results.
Though the program has only gotten underway, preliminary studies show the students are learning more. The school hopes to continue the parent-assisted classrooms in the first and second grade and to extend it as well. But they do so, they must have volunteers. So if you would like to be a part of the program, show up at the volunteer meeting Thursday evening beginning at 7 p.m. in room 11 at the Red Rock Elementary School. And if you would like further information on the program, you can call the school at 259-7326. This Friday is the graduation ceremony for the students at Helen M. Knight School who have gone through the DARE program, the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Campaign of the school district and the Moab Police Department. The instructor for the DARE program is Detective Mike Navarre. Throughout the school year, he spends a day working with the youngsters. According to Navarre, the program stays away from lecturing and negative statements. Instead, the program tries to instill the self-confidence in the students and to allow them to resist peer pressure and other influences which often lead to drug experimentation and abuse. The students will be receiving special certificates of completion along with DARE t-shirts at the ceremony. The public is invited to attend. It will take place this Friday at 1 p.m. at the Helen M. Knight School. The American Association of Retired Persons will hold their monthly luncheon meeting Thursday afternoon. The gathering gets underway at 12:30 p.m. at the Cattleman's Restaurant, and guest speaker will be Gwyneth Perriott. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues. Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
The Moab Golf Course has been described as the most beautiful in the state, so now that warm weather's here, why not come out to play the course that attracts golfers from all over the region? Individual and group lessons are available along with golf club and cart rentals. So come on out for some golf among the Red Rocks at the Moab Golf Course. For information, call 259-6488.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
It was bright sunshine in the valley once again on Wednesday, with temperatures once again climbing to right around the 90-degree mark, and expect the nice weather to continue for a few more days. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for sunny skies through Thursday and into Friday. Look for afternoon thermometer readings staying around the 90-degree mark, overnight lows down to the 60s. And though the official forecast calls for clear skies, the meteorologists never seem to remember that Moab is at the edge of a mountain range, and that means weather can change in the blink of an eye. So always be prepared for a quick buildup of clouds, strong winds, and sometimes violent thunderstorms. By Saturday and Sunday, the front should move in, bringing more clouds and a chance of some showers. And that's news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. Have a good day.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Jim Kelly reporting. The state of Utah and the National Park Service may be squaring off again on what to do with the state land parcels within Arches National Park. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
For the unusual gift, try Sherry's Country Store Gifts. Sherry grew up around country stores and knows there has to be something for all the five senses. Something to see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, and give the sense you're a welcome customer. The walls are filled with unique goods from different corners of the world. So for the memorable gift of quality, come to Sherry's Country Store Gifts in the Western Plaza.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Slip into something comfortable for spring with on-the-edge activewear and contoured Birkenstock sandals. Birkenstock, lightweight, flexible, long-lasting, and now more stylish than ever in a spectrum of spring colors to match any wardrobe. And if we don't have your style, we'll special order it for you. Find the meaning of comfort with activewear and Birkenstock at On the Edge.
The state of Utah and the federal government are once again arguing over how to handle state lands within national parks. A front-page article in Wednesday's Salt Lake Tribune reports that the director of the Utah Division of State Lands, Dick Mitchell, had his staff prepare a list of options that could be used if Congress fails to act on legislation to buy up to 80,000 acres of school trust lands within the parks. And according to the Tribune, one of the first places the state would act is at Arches National Park. A memo from the Division of State Lands says they may begin drilling water wells within the park to determine what kinds of commercial businesses would be feasible. In addition, they would dig pits to find out if the area could sustain a sewage system. And the state is also considering leasing out their parcels for mineral development. The state argues that their land, surrounded by the park, is blocked from any real development, and since the money from sale or lease of the land goes to the school trust fund, they want to get the issues settled. But national park officials say any actions now are premature. Arches Chief Ranger Jim Webster told Channel 6 he feels a solution to the impasse is on the way.
The state lands within the national parks in Utah, there's 4 national parks with state lands within them, including Arches, of course, 7,000 acres at Arches. Has been an issue for well over 20 years. And the State Lands Division and the Land Board would like to settle the dispute, settle the differences, and get something for their lands within the national parks, which they're certainly entitled to do. Well, right now there is good progress being made by the National Park Service, by the state of Utah, and the congressional delegation from Utah to try to resolve this issue, and a lot of folks, all those parties are fairly hopeful that something will come out of it. There's 4 bills that have been introduced into Congress right now to resolve the issue.
The Park Service is concerned that action by the state could make their job of protecting the natural and visual qualities of the park more difficult.
The proposal that has been on the board is that there be some ground disturbing work done. Specifically, that's been mentioned is bringing drill rigs in, drilling for water, and doing some soil excavation for perk tests.
What exactly, from the point of view of the Park Service, is wrong with going ahead with this kind of beginning development?
Well, for one thing, we're probably a lot further along than we've been on settling the issue. We, as a National Park Service, do not want to have any kind of ground disturbance occur within the boundaries, the legislative boundaries of the national park, because we feel that eventually the issue will be resolved The state lands will be turned over to the National Park Service. If ground disturbing activities occur, those, as you know, in the desert will last and be visible for many, many years. And we are going to do everything that's legally possible to avoid that.
3 years ago, the Division of State Lands raised a similar proposal, raising the idea of developing convenience stores and restaurants within the park. But strong criticism throughout Utah led to Governor Bangerter intervening to drop the plan. Both sides at the time said they would work to find an agreement, but so far none has been found.
What has been the holdup in coming to some sort of an agreement?
Well, there's probably been the biggest problem or stumbling block has been the valuation of the lands. The state wants to get a fair market price for the lands, and the federal government wants to offer a fair valuation for the lands. Those haven't met. Those haven't seen eye to eye.
So for the moment, the stalemate continues, but federal officials believe the interests of both sides would be served by holding off from any actions that could threaten the character of land within the parks. State officials also say they don't want to do anything to damage the resource, but say they can't wait forever. A group of Western lawmakers say federal studies that lean toward increasing grazing fees are flawed, and they add they have their own study to prove it. Right now, ranchers pay $1.92 per month for 1 cow and 1 calf on federal land. A survey done by the federal government indicated that the market value of public lands ranged from $4.68 in the southwest deserts to over $10 per acre in the Midwest. The federal survey also said that the federal government spends almost $74 million a year in administering their grazing programs and get back only $27 million from the ranchers. But the Western lawmakers cite another study done for the California Cattlemen's Association by Pepperdine University that they say shows the federal government position is based on subjectivity and inaccurate data. So it appears once again that there is no agreement on just what the government should charge ranchers. The body of a 64-year-old Bluff resident was found in the San Juan River on Tuesday, 1 week after he had apparently drowned. According to the San Juan County Sheriff's Department, Carl Jones fell through a dilapidated footbridge over the river on May 5th. The Sheriff's Department joined with Navajo Tribal Police and the Bureau of Land Management and the FBI in the search for the victim. His body was found about 8 miles downriver from the bridge. The death has been classified as an accidental drowning. The city of Moab wants to know what you think of a city park at the Powerhouse Dam. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
Rim Cyclery is the hub of the action in the mountain bike capital of the world, carrying the specialized Klein and Mountain Goat brands and fully staffed with experts in mountain bike service. Rim is also your stop for camping gear and accessories and sportswear featuring Gramici shorts and tops. Bikers, here's a simple rule. If you're gearing up, see Rim. If you've broken down, see Rim. 94 West, 100 North.
Spring is busting out all over at Spanish Valley Nursery. Quality new stock is arriving almost daily at the best prices around. Select from an abundance of evergreen and flowering shrubbery and container-grown roses. Decorative grasses, ground covers, and ivies line the path to the greenhouse where it's full steam ahead for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. And it doesn't stop there. The backup stock is growing in the wings. Come enjoy the bounty of spring at Spanish Valley Nursery, where it's always first quality.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
The cycle of poverty for families headed by single women is getting worse in Utah. According to the research director for Utah Issues, Shirley Weathers, more than half of those families have incomes below the poverty line. Weathers added that the 1980 census showed almost 52% of families with only a female parent were categorized as living in poverty, and that the 1990 census put that figure at more than 57%. She attributed the problem to a number of factors, including low pay for many traditionally female jobs, rising cost of housing, lack of child support, and teenage parenthood. Among other solutions, Weathers said public assistance should be increased. According to the census, about 1 in 9 Utah residents lives below the federal average poverty level. The city of Moab will hold a special public meeting Monday evening to find out about what local residents think about establishing a city park at the Powerhouse Dam area of Mill Creek. The dam is on Bureau of Land Management property, but the BLM has given the city a lease in hopes of some sort of joint project can be put together. The area has been used by local residents for recreation and has recently become more popular with visitors as well, but there have been concerns expressed about the safety of the area and the degradation from the increased use. Moab's landscape architect, Kathleen Collins, has been working with the federal government for the past year. She says the meeting will help determine how far the city should pursue the project.
The purpose of this public meeting is to get the people of Moab together to look at a planning process for the Powerhouse Dam area that the City Council in May 1990, directed the planning department to take on. We want to get the public involved. We have the middle school that gave their ideas in 1990, and we want to expand on that and look at other problems and work with the BLM.
What are these problems?
The problems are, as I've heard and seen, are sanitation and general overuse of the area, a lot of vegetation and a lot of erosion occurring in the area because of people walking and using ATVs. The sanitation comes from camping in the area, and there's no restroom facilities, people using soap in the creek to take baths.
2 years ago, the BLM went to middle school students for help in designing the park. The youngsters worked with agency staff in looking at ways to protect the creek and vegetation and to make recreation safer and cleaner. Now, the city wants to hear from others.
We're looking for comments. We're looking for people to tell us how they use the area, what they like about the area, what they see as problems of the area, and what they think there might be solutions to this.
What sort of things have you been hearing so far?
I've been hearing people's concerns about the sanitation primarily is people using the stream for baths, using soap, and no restroom facilities and people camping in the area.
Moab city officials are right now struggling to put together a budget for the fiscal year beginning this July, and there are questions as to whether or not the city can afford another park. But Moab has a few years to make that decision and to possibly find outside funding sources.
The city has a lease on it for 5 years, and at the end of that time, the contract with the BLM is that it will be planned and developed as a park. At the end of that time, the city has an option to buy. They would also, I believe, have an option to continue leasing, but I'm not sure about that.
The meeting this Monday will lay out all the city knows right now and try to arrive on a general direction.
What we'll do is we'll give the background up to now, and what we'll do is jump in and just start gathering comments. We'll be having someone write everything down. We'll have a recorder. We'll get everybody's ideas together, and we will also be coming up with a group to work on this, specifically a citizens group to work on Powerhouse Park that will represent a lot of the different users up there. So we hope to have the input and the creative solutions worked on, and also come up with a group that will continue working on this.
Mill Creek is also the site of the city's planned flood control project and possible recreational parkway. Collins says a power dam park would eventually connect with the rest of the parkway.
we have been talking about using that as one end of the project. At this time, we're not ready to connect it to the rest of the Mill Creek project as far as a trail. And so that's something in the future. That would be something that we would hope that would be down the road.
That meeting is Monday evening, May 18th, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Red Rock Elementary School, room 11. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when the Channel 6 News continues.
Today is a very good day. You've got a new set of wheels and a license to drive. You, my friend, are on a roll. Can your life get better than this? You bet your spandex because you're going to McDonald's to wheel some delicious deals. Only 59 cents for a regular hamburger, 69-cent cheeseburger, and 99 cents for a chicken fajitas or breakfast burrito. Wow. You ask someone to pinch you. Ah, a volunteer. Yes, your life is good. And at these prices, it only gets better at McDonald's today.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
It was bright sunshine in the valley once again on Thursday, with afternoon high thermometer readings climbing to the 90-degree mark. But while the weekend will remain warm, look for more clouds and a chance of some scattered showers. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for partly cloudy skies through Friday. Afternoon high thermometer readings should be near the 90-degree mark, with overnight lows dropping down to 60 degrees. There is a chance of some widely scattered showers, more likely as you get near the mountains. Look for variable skies on Saturday with mercury readings up to the 90 degrees. And by Sunday, the cloud covers should be heavier with some showers likely and temperatures again right around 90 degrees. And that's the news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Jim Kelly, reminding you to keep on smiling.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting. San Juan County Commissioners receive upstate support for their effort to launch a feasibility study for a temporary nuclear storage facility. And Grand County students graduate from the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program. We'll have those stories when the Channel 6 News continues.
Get in on the fun with this 91 Ford Explorer at Certified Ford. This V6 automatic XLT comes complete with power windows and locks, air conditioning and cruise control for your ease and comfort, and pinstripes running boards and an AM/FM cassette for the sport in you. Low mileage too. See it today at Certified Ford.
How do you have an instant party. Just buy a sack of subs at Subway. Take them home and serve them family style. It's more fun because everyone gets a taste of everything and no one has to cook. So if unexpected guests drop by unexpectedly or you don't feel like cooking dinner, pick up a sack of subs at Subway. We specialize in solving emergencies with food.
For more information on these and other fine sandwiches, visit the Subway near you.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
San Juan County officials received support Friday for their decision to move ahead with plans to study the feasibility of a temporary nuclear waste site. Last Monday, the San Juan Commission voted to accept a $100,000 grant from the Department of Energy for the study. The money can go to the county's effort to obtain expert advice on whether the facility should be placed in the county. If county officials decide after the study to pursue the plan further, they can get an additional $200,000 for the research. A temporary nuclear site called a monitored retrievable storage facility would require about 450 acres of land. Highly radioactive spent fuel rods from nuclear power plants would be stored above ground for a number of years before being transferred to a permanent repository, which as yet has not been built. On Friday, the Salt Lake Tribune, a newspaper that editorially has been critical in the past of having Utah accept waste from other areas, ran an editorial supporting the county decision on the basis that it's a good idea to obtain the information. The editorial notes that the final decision of whether or not to allow the San Juan facility rests with the governor of Utah, not local officials. After 4 months of weekly classes and discussion, Helen M. Knight students graduated Friday from the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program. DARE is led by Moab Police Detective Mike Navarro, who spends a day each week at the school going over information to help the youngsters realize they have the power and the self-esteem to resist peer pressure that can often lead to drug abuse. And the program reached its conclusion for this year's crop of students Friday afternoon with the official graduation ceremony held at the HMK school.
Down the road, when confronted with drugs, they'll have the skills and the know-how to deal with it. So this has basically been a prevention program here this year. It's gone all year. We've had great support from the students, from the parents, from the community, as you can tell. And Officer Navarro has done a fantastic job of running it for us. And he's met with all the sixth grade classes throughout the year on a weekly basis to help students develop those skills necessary to have a lifestyle that's free of alcohol and drugs.
Students presented skits showing the skills they've learned, and awards were given for the best essays in each class. The winners were Jared Davis, Sadie Warner, Amy McKinnon, Caleb Allred, and Andrew Adkison. The Sadie Warner was the winner of the Grand Essay Award.
Dare means trusting my judgment of right and wrong. I've learned all the harmful effects drugs can have on me if I abuse them. If I use drugs, I will be wasting my future, and I'm not looking forward to being unemployed, lazy, and uneducated. Most important, Dare means to me having confidence and self-respect.
Graduating students were given certificates of completion and T-shirts to help remind them of the good work they've done. And Detective Navarro was thanked by both the school and the students.
We have a flag here for Officer Navarro, and on it it says, Detective Mike Navarro, in appreciation for outstanding service to the students and staff of HMK Intermediate School 9192. We'd like to present the student at this time.
This is for Officer Navarro for his service to us this year.
The DARE program takes a break for the summer, but it will be back next school year, and the Moab Police hope to have another local officer trained in the program to share the workload with Detective Navarra. Residents are invited to come out to the new city park on Saturday to celebrate emergency medical services in Grand County. And Red Rock students take a walk through time. We'll have those stories when the Channel 6 News continues.
Rim Cyclery is the hub of the action in the mountain bike capital of the world, carrying the specialized Klein and Mountain Goat brands and fully staffed with experts in mountain bike service. Rim is also your stop for camping gear and accessories and sportswear featuring Gramici shorts and tops. Bikers, here's a simple rule. If you're gearing up, see Rim. If you've broken down, see Rim. 94 West, 100 North.
Music of Moab, music for everyone. Jazz, country, rock, classical, blues, and top 40. Everything for your listening pleasure is now available at Music of Moab. Conveniently located in the Western Plaza, Music of Moab carries your favorite music, CDs, cassettes, and a wide selection of music accessories. Music of Moab, your music headquarters for southeastern Utah. Music of Moab, music for everyone.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Saturday is Emergency Services Day here in Moab as the volunteers who take time out of their lives to help protect ours get together at the new city park. If you or a member of your family has ever needed an ambulance or suffered a fire or gotten lost or hurt in the canyons, you probably already know how valuable these services are. And Saturday gives us a chance to say thanks and to find out more about their activities. According to Carrie Easton of the Grand County Ambulance Service, Saturday will be a joint effort.
Gives everybody an opportunity to come down and look at the things that we have available as emergency services, and gives them an opportunity to kind of get around, feel more comfortable with being around it, and their kids get a chance to look at it and see what's happening.
When you talk about emergency services, who are you talking about?
We're talking about, in this area, the Grand County Ambulance Association, Moab Fire District, and the Grand County Search and Rescue is all going to be involved in this.
In addition to displaying equipment, there will also be rides on the fire truck and a chance to ask questions about the different services.
It's going to be on the 16th, this Saturday, at the new city park.
And what are some of the things that people will be able to see when they get there?
We're going to have all the equipment from the fire department. The ambulance and search and rescue is going to have pretty much all their equipment that they're available there for us to look at and see what they've got.
The need for emergency services has grown in Moab, with ambulance calls up 50% this year, and there is always a need for new community members to get involved in the program.
There may be people in town who'd like to get involved in some of these volunteer activities. What can they do?
Okay, we are scheduled to have a new EMT class this year. Anybody that would be interested in it would sure be welcome to come down and take a look at what we have and see if they're interested, and we could have a sign-up sheet so we could get a hold of them when the time comes that we're able to provide that class.
And you'll be there to talk to anyone who's interested?
Yes, we'll be there, and there'll be plenty of other people there to talk to anybody that wants to be involved with it.
And once again, it's Emergency Services Day, Saturday, May 16th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the new city park. Red Rock Elementary School students took a march through time Friday morning. It was the Timeline set up in the school's corridors. The program, a product of Linda Warner's second grade parent-assisted classroom. It was the history of civilization from 8000 BC up to the age of the astronauts. And along the way, the students heard from figures from that history, the Greeks and Romans, princesses, Christopher Columbus, and others. And they learned a little bit about the people of each era.
Egyptians used hieroglyphics. A variety of signs stand for ideas, words, and sounds. Next, we will visit the ancient Greeks and Romans. I see their great ships below.
It was a major production, and students not only worked on the timeline and costumes, but also became experts on different aspects of history.
Well, we're doing a timeline.
Which is what?
We're taking people through history.
And what part are you playing in this whole production?
I'm the shuttle driver. I drive the shuttle through history. I've learned that it would probably have been pretty hard because they didn't know about electricity or anything either.
It was a lot of work, but according to Mrs. Warner, it was worth the effort.
Okay, the Boys and Girls for Social Studies are working on understanding how history and time worked. So with the help of many parents from our parent-assisted classroom, we made the timeline so they could see the relationship of different cultures and also the relationship of 1700 compared to 1900, the cultures, the clothing, and they've worked on different skits and stations to explain the changes in history. And at the end of all of this production, they're having a big quiz and test on these different things that they've learned in history.
The production wouldn't have happened without the existence of the parent-assisted classroom, which takes advantage of the enthusiasm and hard work of a number of local residents.
We spent over 8 hours with parents helping, coloring in and doing the timeline. Then the costumes the children have sort of organized along with various people's help. We had a couple of practices in the hall, so a lot of it they did on their own, learning their lines and that kind of thing.
And this kind of educational effort, says Warner, makes a much more vivid impression than a classroom lecture.
I think that these children will learn more about history and remember it than if I would have had them read a chapter and answer some questions, definitely.
The high school sports season has one more week to go, and both the baseball and softball teams have a chance to improve their record before the playoffs begin. The Red Devil baseball team heads off to Blanding on Tuesday for a game against San Juan High. Varsity action gets underway at 3 p.m. The She-Devil softball team travels on Saturday to Monticello for a 1 p.m. game against the Buckaroos. Then both teams end their regular season next Friday, May 22nd. The baseball team takes on North Summit at the high school beginning at 3 p.m. And the softball team closes it out with a game against San Juan, beginning at 3:30 p.m. at the softball complex on Center Street. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
For the best RV camp park in Moab, it's Holiday Haven, with oversized spaces to accommodate the largest RV and cool, comfortable tent sites under mature shade trees, all with a convenient central location. Holiday Haven is also Moab's finest mobile home park that offers country living in the city, an established park with pool, playground, laundry facilities, and a retired section. For comfortable RV or mobile home living, it's Holiday Haven, 400 North, 5th West.
This moment of silence for your reading pleasure is brought to you by B. Osborne Books and Magazines.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company. Bright sunshine stayed in the valley on Friday, with afternoon temperatures once again hitting the 90-degree mark. And expect the summertime weather to continue through the weekend, but keep an eye out for some occasional thunder showers. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for partly cloudy skies through Sunday, with an increasing chance of some storms, especially at higher elevations. Mercury readings should poke up in the mid-90s, with overnight lows in the 60s. The long-range forecast calls for more clouds to roll in Monday and Tuesday, highs staying near 90 degrees. And that's the news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. The County Commission hears pros and cons on a plan to withdraw some land from a subdivision. And the new school superintendent comes to town. We'll have those stories, plus the dedication of the Dave Miner Canyon Rims Overlook when the Channel 6 News continues.
If it's housewares, fabrics, or school supplies you need, think Sprouse. If it's bed and bath items or health and beauty aids you're looking for, think Sprouse. For greeting cards, footwear, or toys, think Sprouse. For more values more often, think Sprouse. Now for extra savings, look for these special tags, managers' special purchases, jackpot buys, and discount food and snacks. Sprouse.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
For the best RV camp park in Moab, it's Holiday Haven, with oversized spaces to accommodate the largest RV and cool, comfortable tent sites under mature shade trees, all with a convenient central location. Holiday Haven is also Moab's finest mobile home park that offers country living in the city, an established park with pool, playground, laundry facilities, and a retired section. For comfortable RV or mobile home living, it's Holiday Haven, 400 North, 5th West.
The Grand County Commissioners heard from a subdivision developer who wants to change the subdivision and from a subdivision property owner who wants the things to stay the same. That was one of the topics of discussion at Monday's commission meeting, where they heard from Paul Voth, who had set up the Voth subdivision in Spanish Valley. He asked the commission to let him pull the northernmost lot out of the subdivision so he could break it up into lots of about an acre in size each.
Some years ago, I made a subdivision approximately 5 miles south of Moab. I put in a road. I called it Lake Lane, and so on. And Senior Keel did all the surveying on it. While he was surveying, he said the laws changed. And he said, now you can go into 1 acre parcels. So I said, well, if they keep the weeds down on 1 acre, they do well. So I said, let's go 1 acre. I might mention that, in essence, I mean, we do have all the signatures, even of the surrounding area that border the, and some even wanted to sign twice.
Mike? My name is Mike Price. I own 2 lots in both subdivisions. I bought them in 1980. I am Mr. Vo's first purchaser. I will counter his last claim. I have not signed. I have researched state statute regarding subdivision abandonment, and I have sought counsel. In order for him to abandon, he must have all signatures of all owners in the subdivision in order to abandon, or he must go to a process of public hearing. And I maintain that he does not have my signature on 2 lots, and that he does not have the signature of the Abraham Lincoln Scholes family who own the lot that I am the agent for. In 1980, when I bought the subdivision, one reason I bought it was because there was a large 2-acre lot at the end of the subdivision that was very well planned and developed, and I felt that it would add substance to that subdivision, and that type of growth would proceed throughout the subdivision. And I felt that at the time I bought, that was the best planned, best laid out subdivision in the southern end of Spanish Valley. I still feel that way. I'd like to keep it that way. I feel that taking Lot 1 out will detract from the subdivision, and that it does go against my reasons for purchasing in that subdivision. I have kept my lots for 10 years. I desire to continue to hold them. I want to see the subdivision stay as it is. I am opposed to abandoning Lot 1.
What we as the county commission, before we can do anything, we have to know legally what bounds and what hoops have to be jumped through, and then what we can do. And I'm not comfortable at all with doing anything until we have a chance to talk with our county attorney about exactly, the legalities of going through this. In the meantime, you can hash that out between you all you want. I would, as one county commissioner, I don't have a problem with splitting that, but if I can't legally do it, it can't be done.
Commissioners said they would look into the situation and check with the county attorney to see what they legally could do. In other business, the commission heard from Sheriff Jim Nyland on the future of the Grand County Drug Strike Force. In the past, the strike force was a joint project with San Juan County and the cities of Moab, Monticello, and Blanding. But they all pulled out. Now, an effort to work with Carbon and Emery counties has run into problems.
What's happened is Carbon and Emery County, they're pretty much refusing to allow us to go in on their grant for the enforcement of narcotics. We have applied for a grant by ourselves. Of course, last year they told us no more after last year, so we don't know what decision that they've made yet. I guess my question is, something you guys ought to think about is, as far as down this end of the state, as far as Grand and San Juan County, we're just in this alone. We're footing, the bill follow money. We're supplying everything from county, Grand County, individually. We've been productive. We do have a severe drug problem. But I guess we need to take a think about it and really see if we want to continue to spend that amount of money on an individual basis on ourselves.
Commissioners said they would talk with Carbon County and Price City officials to see if things could be worked out. And the County Commission also worked out deals with the Park Service, the BLM, and the Airport Board for future joint projects. And we'll report on those actions on our next broadcast. The Utah Division of State Lands and Forestry has decided to carry out feasibility studies for commercial development of state-owned parcels within Arches and other Utah national parks. But the Lands Board decided against any actual groundbreaking activity, at least until next fall. That was the conclusion of the Lands Board meeting last week. As we reported on our last broadcast, the state says the federal government is moving too slowly on legislation to buy state-owned parcels in the parks. The state said they might begin drilling exploratory water wells and dig trenches to test the feasibility of sewage systems. But after discussion with park officials, the state decided to stay away from any actual ground-disturbing work. They left their withdrawal from sale or lease of the land intact until their meeting in November, when they will look at the question again. Utah's congressional delegation has proposed laws that would allow the federal government to buy those parcels, with the money going to the school trust fund. But Utah and the federal government have been unable yet to reach agreement on how much the land should cost. Dr. Richard Averett begins his new job heading up the Grand County schools, and family and friends gather to honor Dave Miner. We'll have those stories when Channel 6 News continues.
Rim Cyclery is the hub of the action in the mountain bike capital of the world, carrying the specialized Klein and Mountain Goat brands and fully staffed with experts in mountain bike service. Rim is also your stop for camping gear and accessories and sportswear featuring Gramici shorts and tops. Bikers, here's a simple rule. If you're gearing up, see Rim. If you've broken down, see Rim. 94 West, 100 North.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Randy, I
just had a thought. That's just what I was thinking.
And so went the creation of Canyon Country Realty, doing business in the cold of the Old West.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
Grand County's new superintendent of schools was in town on Friday. Dr. Richard Averett arrived in Moab to begin his duties in heading up the district, and he took part in the selection process for new principals at the high school and the Helen M. Knight School. Averett, a native of California, holds 2 master's degrees and a PhD and plans to put those academic credentials and his experience as an assistant superintendent in California to use here.
I started off by getting a bachelor's and then going into master's in Spanish literature because I was fascinated with Spanish language and literature and the people. The second master's came because I was in high school and didn't like what the counselors were doing, so I became one. I received a degree in counseling. The doctorate was the only way to get into administration in California, so I went that route and received a doctorate in educational administration.
Maybe you could go over your background and what you've been doing the last couple of years.
The last 3.5 years I've been assistant superintendent for Ventura Unified, a district of approximately 15,800 students, and had responsibility for hiring teachers and other employees, firing, employee discipline, negotiations, and employee recognition.
It is a major move from a large school district to Grand County, and Averett said the advantages of small-town life was one of the reasons he took the job.
Well, I'd been in a rural district in Northern California. In fact, had great experiences there, suffering a flood where 3 of our schools were inundated with water. And I know the value of being in a small community for family, and I still have 2 youngsters living at home and look forward to spending some more time with them. And being in a smaller community, you have that opportunity. Also to get more involved with the community activities.
You've only been in town now a couple of days, but you have had a chance to meet a number of teachers, a number of staff, visit the schools. What's your first impression?
Well, you've got some great people here. I don't know that there's anyone on the staff anywhere that I missed unless they were on a field trip or out ill. I was able to greet each one and know their names the first time. I'm not sure if I'll pick them up the second time. But very qualified staff here, very concerned about the youth and their education. And you're doing some fantastic things with distance learning coming on the forefront and some great things with all of your computers and technology.
Dr. Averett faces a number of challenges here, including a district strapped for funds and standardized test results that show performance below both state and national norms.
Well, I'll be looking at the needs and working with the board and with staff to decide where we are and where we'd like to be and how together we can get to where we need to be.
Averett returned to California, but will be back to start his new job on a full-time basis in June. A crowd of family and friends traveled down to the Canyon Rim area this past weekend for the official dedication of the Dave Miner Overlook. Dave Miner was a former Needles District Park Ranger and later BLM leader in Moab, who died in September of 1990. Dave was instrumental in helping the federal government in its efforts to highlight the beauty of the Canyonlands, and friends and family gathered to remember him.
This book is dedicated to Dave Miner, BLM Recreation Planner. He knew there was something special about the Cameo Cliffs area and wanted it to be a part of Canyon Rim's recreation area. But this was the best we could do under the circumstances. Rest now in peace, Dave.
During the time that I knew him, while he was here in Moab and at many other places he worked during his career, that Dave touched a lot of people, and I'm really pleased to see such a good turnout today. I'd say that in addition to the people here, we had nearly 40 people who contributed to the collection for the plaque, and that is also a strong tribute to how people felt about Dave. I think this will work. This overlook is dedicated to David C. Miner, who cheerfully worked to conserve, protect, and improve the Needles and Canyon Rims area for the benefit of the visiting public from 1968 through 1990.
Dave was the archaeologist before I came. Dave knew more about the history of the area than anyone else I knew. Anytime I needed to know information about whether it be a historic structure, area, Dave was the one who knew. Dave shared so much with me. When I first came to Moab, he took me out. He not only showed me the resources, but he shared with me his patience, his experiences. He taught me to let things roll off my back.
This area here, they really had a true appreciation for it and for everything in it. And I think this plaque here on probably one of the prettier areas in the region here is certainly most fitting his memory.
David was a person, to me at least, that exuded goodness. He made me uncomfortable. He was so good. I never saw him get mad at anyone. I never saw him get really upset. When I would be stomping and screaming and cussing and everything, Dave would be just as calm and cool and collected and, well, we'll make it work sort of thing.
I've really had a lot of love and respect for Dave. I think this is a tribute to him, and I think it's well deserving of him.
BLM's pretty lucky that one of the prime things Dad wanted to do is be a good father, because that's why he moved to Moab. Otherwise, he would still been in Canyon. He moved into town to be with us kids. Yet, right underneath us, he loved this area and loved this land. You could tell it in the way he acted, the way he did things, the way he'd help out people when they'd come through visiting. Have any problems, he'd invite them into the trailer out there at the Needles and have dinner.
Oh, this was such a special honor for Dave, and it's just, I'm so glad that he knew about it. Because it meant so much to him. Just, this area is just one of his favorites, so beautiful. He has so many wonderful friends, and I'm glad a number of them were able to come today.
Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
How do you have an instant party? Just buy a sack of subs at Subway. Take them home and serve them family style. It's more fun because everyone gets a taste of everything and no one has to cook. So if unexpected guests drop by unexpectedly or you don't feel like cooking dinner, pick up a sack of subs at Subway. We specialize in solving emergencies with food.
For more information on these and other fine sandwiches, visit the Subway near you.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
Music of Moab, music for everyone. Jazz, country, rock, classical, blues, and top 40. Everything for your listening pleasure is now available at Music of Moab. Conveniently located in the Western Plaza, Music of Moab carries your favorite music, CDs, cassettes, and a wide selection of music accessories. Music of Moab, your music headquarters for southeastern Utah. Music of Moab, music for everyone.
For the unusual gift, try Sherry's Country Store Gifts. Sherry grew up around country stores and knows there has to be something for all the five senses. Something to see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, and give the sense you're a welcome customer. The walls are filled with unique goods from different corners of the world. So for the memorable gift of quality, come to Sherry's Country Store Gifts in the Western Plaza.
Sunshine stayed in the valley on Monday with mid-summer temperatures close to the 100-degree mark. And Tuesday may be just as hot. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for mostly sunny skies through Tuesday afternoon. Look for temperatures ranging from between 95 and 100 degrees. So far, this has been one of the warmest Mays in years. And we could have mercury readings in the 3-digit range by the end of the week. Look for some clouds in the afternoon and evenings, but by the weekend, the bright sun will be back and temperatures will climb. And that's news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. Have a good day.